bhagavato arahassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good morning, everyone. I think today we have the Q&A session, right? Sally, is it possible, or Dr. Ryan, is it possible that we can make the questions something like a topic so that we can see it on the thumb this side?
I'm sorry, what they? So you want to put them in the topics?
No, yeah. If we make them topics, we can easily choose them from the sidebar, right? Slide bar.
Oh, I see. Okay, sure, Bante. Yeah.
Whenever someone comes, they can choose the question and directly go there.
Right, Bante. So you mean like the in the table of content or something like that?
Yeah.
So you can...
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
so
sure, Bante. Yes.
Okay, right. So that's 49th question. Did we have anything to be discussed before? No, right? We didn't have any.
No, Bante.
In the Friday class, yes, I have explained about Nama, about Sayyatapi on the Sutta reading class, not here.
Right, Bante. Yes.
Yes, Yale, you are going to say something.
Are you use a fan or something? Because your side, the noise, there's some noise from your side.
Okay. How about now? Still there?
Now it's okay.
Okay, right? Okay. Okay, because I was using the fan. Okay. So we have 49. Could Bante please explain about the Neya Dhamma?
Hi, Bante. Could you please share your screen, Bante?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Very sorry about that. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, we can see the screen now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Could you please explain about the Neya Dhamma? It's a question. Neya Dhamma. Neya Dhamma means it comes from the root Nya. According to Sanskrit, is Nya. Anyway. Nya. Plus Aya. So it becomes Nya changes into this becoming Neya. In some places, we find the word Neya. Right? So all refers to because sometimes Nya changes into Ja and sometimes Nya changes into Na. Because the root is Nya. Well, this is the root. Right, the Sanskrit root. So sometimes we find Ja, long Ja, and sometimes we find Nya, and sometimes we find Na even as a change, right? So these are the changes that we observe in with the Nya. So it becomes Neya or Neya. So it refers to Aya suffix means that should be known or can be known. comes from a Kitaka suffix normally. Yeah. Some books you find it in traditional books with a .n. Yeah. So this suffix have the meaning of can be, could be, sometimes should be, ought to be, like deserves to be. So okay, we have a few meanings of this suffix, right? So here, what we normally say is the things that can be known at that should be known, something, whatever. This means whatever that can be known. So when we talk about a bodhisattva or a Buddha, that should be known. Like if someone wants to be a Buddha, he should understand everything. And what can be known by someone. So Neya. So we normally say the range of meanings. We normally call Attha. With this word, we get the Attha word, we get Paramattha and Hinattha. Hinattha is equal to Panyati. Right? Attha is ultimate realities that have a higher quality in terms of its existence. Hinattha lower. We can also call Abhavattha, but as we use the Hinattas, Panyatis very often in our day-to-day usage, we can sometimes we call it the reality, the things that have a less existence, Hinatta. So Atta means here, sometimes we have Abhavatta, the absent meanings. Sometimes we have the meaning called for these are all for Panyati, we can call Hinatta, Abhavatta. Paramatta can be called Sarattha. Sarattha means the essence. When you look into something, the essence you get is Paramatta. Then we can call Mulattha, the substance, so when we go in, that everything is made out of it. So that is some kind of like a root, like something which is when we go in, the thing that we find in the end. So in all these meanings, Attha, some teachers say the Attha is something that can be known. With mind. Any aramana equals to. It can be a real thing or a false thing, whatever it is. So that is the Attha, right? So range of meaning, range of Attha is range of meanings that can be known is called Nyayapatha. The range, Nyayapatha we call. So the reality, the things, the meanings that can be known is called Nyaya Dhamma. Right? It's called Nyaya Dhamma. Nyaya Dhamma. There are two ways that we normally explain Nyaya Dhamma. There are two ways that we explain Nyaya Dhamma. When we look into the Patthana method, for example, I have learned from one of my friends, traditionally, Patthana method. According to Patthana method, normally, sometimes you find Nyaya Dhamma as fivefold, that are Chitta, that you already know. Ceta, Sikha, Rupa, Nibbana, and Panyati. That is the normal Neya Dhamma according to the Patthana method. So we normally say out of these Neya Dhammas, 3 are conditioned, 2 are unconditioned. Nibbana and Panyati are always Pachanika. Chitta-desika Rupa can be Pachaya. Sorry, all 5 can be Pachaya. Chitta-desika Rupa is always can be Pachayupanna, Nibbana and Panyati are always Pachanika. This is how we explain it according to the Patthana. Then when we go into explain according to the Buddha Jnana, according to the Buddha Jnana explanations, we find Neya Dhamma again, right? We find Neya Dhamma is again 5-fold. That is Sankara, Vikhara, Lakhana, Panyati, and Nibbana. Right? Sankara is conditioned realities. Now, if we go into this, I think Chitta-desika Rupa Nibbana is clear to all of you. Right? Sankhara is conditioned realities. Then Vikhara is 2 Vinyati and 3 Vikhara Rupa. We can call all. Sometimes they explain 5 Vikhara Rupa. That is Vinyati and 3 we call Vikhara also. That is Lahuta, Rupasa Lahuta. Rupasa Mudita and Rupasa Ammanyata. Right? These are the 5. We all collectively call 5 Vikara. Then we have Lakhana. So we have 2 types of Lakhana, Samanya Lakhana and Visesa Lakhana. Visesa Lakhana is the conditioned reality itself. So we call Samanya Lakhana. We call universal characters, general. Normally that is we call Anicca, Dukkha and Anatta. Anicca Lakhana. We have Dukkha Lakhana and Anatta Lakhana. Some teachers in the Vipassana meditation, they explain about Sankata Lakhana. But that is also within, which is included in Anicca Lakhana. Because when we come to Ditthi Vishuddhi, we observe partial of Anatta Lakhana, not complete, partial. Hanka Vitarana Vishuddhi, we observe Sankata Lakhana. Sankata Lakhana includes Anicca Lakhana and also it relates to Anatta Lakhana. Mostly is Anicca Lakhana we call. But Anatta Lakhana also can be referred to that. Then when you come to Sammasana Jnana, we refer all 3. Udayavya Jnana is more, Udayavya and Bhanga is more towards Anicca Lakhana. Baya Adinava Nibbida is towards Dukkha Lakhana. Munchitu Kammeta, Patisankanupassana, Sankarupekha, all are related to Anatta Lakhana. Right? Anuloma Jnana related to any of the 3 depending on the yogi's character. And then this can also be extended to remember when we study in BAB, we study 40 types of universe, 40 types of characteristic Lakhana. We find it in Chattalis Vipassana. Chatta Lisakara Vipassana. You can find this in under the Sammasana Jnana in Shuddhimagga, like 40 pages, right? Chatta Lisakara Vipassana. Then these are all Lakkhana because they are not reality. Reality and the Lakkhana, the universal characteristic and the reality are different things. So it is not included in Sankhara. Sankhara is the reality. Here Lakkhana means a characteristic related to this Sankhara. And also Nibbana has the Anatta Lakkhana, according to the Theravada tradition. Nibbana also has the Anatta Lakkhana, but not the Anicca and Dukkha Lakkhana. Then we have Panyati. We have two types of Panyati. Nama Panyati. Then we have Atta Panyati. There is another extra Panyati when we listen, mentioned in Paravatadipani, when we listen to sound. That is called Saddha Panyati. Saddha Panyati. It's a very special one. So what Lady Shadow is saying, when we are listening to some sounds, we have looking into the, listening to the sound, you can see this in the, if you want to have more understanding about it, please go to Pachaya 8th chapter. Pachaya, we call it Chitta Pachaya Sangha. Last, at the end of Pachaya Sangha in Paramattha. You can find something called Saddha Panyati. Saddha Panyati means like when we are listening to a certain sound, when we get the idea of a word, looking into the sound, listening to the sound, Sayadaw is telling it's not a Nama Panyati, it's not a Atta Panyati, it's a collective, it is something that is known with the collection of many sounds. So Sayadaw is telling that this should be called a Saddha Panyati. Nama Panyati is a name, something that we observe while looking into the idea, a name that has been given to something. When we look into some word, looks into some word, we get the meaning. We know we understand the name. When we see someone, we remember the name. Also, when we listen to something, we remember the name. We understand it. But that collection of sounds, that what we understand with the mind when we hear a certain word being uttered. So he suggests that this is something else. It is called a Saddha Panyati. Atta Panya is the meaning of a certain noun which relates to a concept. Right? Then we come into Nibbana. So Nibbana we have, according to tradition, fivefold. That is Sammati, Tadanga, Vikambana, Samuchcheda, and Nissarana. There is something called Patipassadi. It belongs to Sankhara actually. Patipassadi Nibbana belongs to Sankhara. So this is the Nyaya Dhamma according to the Buddha's wisdom. Right? Buddha's wisdom, the fivefold Nyaya Dhamma. But then, because Nyaya Dhamma means something that can be known with mind, something that can be known with mind. We also have another few phenomena which are not included here. One thing is Ajatakasa. I'll be discussing about this in the fundamentals class at the end of the Paramattha lectures. Ajatakasa, the space, the infinite space. Actually, the Rupakalapa space, the Akasa Dhatu, is also a part of this infinite. Because an infinite space already exists. When two Rupakalapas appear within the space, the gap between two Rupakalapas is called Ajatakasa. which was already, we call Akasa Dhatu, Parachcheda Rupa, which was already there, which has been already there. So Ajatakasa is a one thing. In some Buddhist traditions, we consider this as an unconditioned asankata Dhamma. Theravada, some teachers say it's asankata, it has been there forever, but it is not equal to Nibbana because it doesn't have the glory of eradicating defilements by observing it, but it is a space which allows the realities to exist. And Lady Shadow say it's something called we can call it nothingness, but it does exist. That's obvious. That space is there. So the Theravadins have not put it under Paramata Dhammas, but some, I think Sarvastivadins consider this as a unconditioned reality. Then we also have something called Gati, the existence. This also I'll be discussing in the fundamental lecture. Existence, which is, I'm not talking about the Nama Rupa in a certain life, a state which we attain when we get into a certain life. It's like one kind of we can call it a state because it determines lots of characteristics of the living being. This Gati is related to Yoni Niyama. So we find them like many things, like humans have their own characteristics, certain animals have their own characteristics. So likewise, there we can also find a certain phenomenal thing called Gati, right? So I'll be explaining this in detail. I'll be taking an entire lecture to discuss about this point. Then we have another thing called Dhammata. So all these, what we have talked so far is Dhamma up to here. This Gati can be explained as a Dhamma or Dhammata. It's a vague thing. It can be explained in both the ways. Some realities also now, for example, Lakhana. This Lakhana, according to Lady Shadow, is a Dhammata. So Dhamma and Dhammata, the difference of that should be known very clearly. So I'll be taking another lecture for this also in the fundamental start. Dhammata is something, the law or the phenomena, right? We have 5 types of Dhammata. It's another thing. So another word for this Dhammata is Niyama. Right? So we have 5 types of Niyama. Uttu Niyama. Then we have Bija Niyama. Then we have Chitta Niyama. Then we have Hamma Niyama. And we have Dhamma Niyama, remaining all. The laws which govern the existence, how things happen. So I don't know how it went back. Anyway, so these are the 5 niyamas that are apart from. They are not like this. Chitta niyama. Okay, sorry for that. We have bija niyama, and also we have uttu niyama. Right? Can cut off. It should be 1, right? I don't know how to make this numbering. So yeah. Uttu niyama. Right? So this should be 1 to 5. I don't know how, what happened. So these are the things. So when we discuss about Nyaya Dhamma, so according to Patana method, we go into Chitta Chetsika Rupa Nibbana and Panyati. When we go to Buddha Dhamma, Buddha Jnana, we have fivefold Neya Dhamma that can be known with wisdom. But when we go into the, the Theravada studies, we find some few other things that have been mentioned in the text. Because when you look into this, you don't find Akasa Dhatu here. You cannot put Akasa Dhatu into anything. So Akasa Dhatu, and it also includes Ajata Akasa is the bigger thing. Akasa Dhatu is the, we can say Akasa Dhatu. It is we call limitation, right? Within the Rupa Kalapas, within a gap. And we also find something called Gati, which can also be explained related. And then we also have another thing called Pache Sati. Which also the conditional force, especially the other, or ladies have mentioned this as a Dhammaniyam actually, but according the conditional forces, some conditional force, I would call. Especially we can find, I'll be discussing them also, Anantara, Pache Sati, then Asevana, Pache Sati, and Pakatu Upanishad. All are also manifest certain, how to say, certain ultimate, like they cannot be called Panyati, but their existence can be understood, right? Their existence can be understood. So that's why these things, the Dhammatha, but because when we say Neya Dhamma, we are not talking about a reality. We are talking about something that can be known with our wisdom. So when we think about an unreal object like an almighty God, it goes into Panyati actually. Or Panyati, or something that is known with the mind, like created by the mind, idea. But these can be found when we look into the literature, the existence and influence of these things can be clearly found. So therefore, but these parts are not within the Neya Dhammas, even when we discuss about the Buddha Jnana. So therefore, I think it's better to have Atta here, the word Atta, what Atta means. Yeah, so Neya Dhamma is something that should be known with wisdom. The range of Neya Dhamma is Neya Patha. So it had been explained in two ways, Patthana method and Buddha Jnana method. And still, there are few things that are not included in the Buddha Jnana Neya method, like Ajata Akasa, Gati, Pache Sati, and Dhammata. Right? So when we talk about the ultimacy, we have to cover these ranges as well. So this should be my answer, and we can have a discussion on this. Yes.
Yeah, hi Bhante.
Yes, Dr.
So where should we put the four Lakkhana Rupas in this categorization,
Yeah.
Bhante?
So, yeah, that's also a very, very important thing. Lakkhana Rupa should come here. Sorry for that. Should come here. So Lakkhana Rupa, in some, I have listened to some Dhamma talks like learned shadows. They say that Lakkhana Rupa should come into this. And when we say about Anicca Lakkhana, it includes the arising and passing away both, because Sankata is also there. So Anicca Lakkhana includes not only passing away having arisen. So Lakkhana Rupa is exclusive to Rupa. These are four characteristics of Rupa exactly. So what are these characteristics? Arising, we call Jati Rupa. Upachaya and Santati both are arising. Then we have Upachaya Santati. Jarata is aging. Anichata is dying, vanishing. So these all three are included in the Anicca Lakkana actually, are included in the Anicca Lakkana. So when we say Anicca Lakkana, we explain it, the nature of vanishing having arisen. That is how we explain. So during the nature of vanishing, having arisen and aged. This one, we normally don't bring it into the definition of Anicca Lakkana. Having decayed, we can call. But it is known. So therefore, these four Lakkana, Rupa, are included in the Anicca Lakkana. When we say Anicca Lakkana, it includes all the Sankatas. But here we are talking about only Rupa. It's only character for four Rupas: arising, decaying, and vanishing. Jati, Jara, Marana. So Jati, Jara, Marana of Rupa is called the Lakkana Rupa. So it falls into this Lakkana. We can incorporate in the Anicca Lakkana completely. We can incorporate it in Anicca Lakkana completely. So even we don't mention it, it should be understood under the Anicca Lakkana. But some shadows I have seen, as you said, they specifically mention this Lakkana Rupa falls here. So they say, as I remember, Lakkana of Nyayapata is Lakkana, three universal Samanya Lakkana and the Lakkana Rupa. But when we look into it, we can also just incorporate it in Anicca Lakkana.
I see. Thank you, Bhante. And then another question is about the Pattananaya, Bhante.
Yeah.
So so I mean, according to the Paramattha, I mean, what is that? Abhidhammattha Sangaha. Then he says in there that Rupa, we have 28 Rupa, but technically we should only include 18 Nippanna Rupa in that category, right, Bhante? The
Right.
remaining 10 Anippanna Rupa, we should include those in the Panyati, right, Bhante?
Actually, like this, what they are saying is they are not fully Panyati. Like we can see this in the Abhidhamma, we call it Dhammasangani commentary. When we talk about the Anippanna Rupa, they are mentioning Nipparyaya and Paryaya method. So according to direct explanation, they are not Rupa, they say. They are not Paramatta. Paramatta to Abhavang. But in a one way, we can also call them Upadaya Rupa, Rupa and Chittaja and so forth. So according to but when we look into this Anippanna Rupa, which is a very which are found in a very gray area, we do not put them into Panyati. Panyati is something that is created or constructed in our mind. These Rupas are related to Rupa, but not exactly Rupa. So normally what we do is, we, according to Dhammasangani method, we put them under the Rupa category, but we specifically mention they are not real Rupas, not Rupa Rupas. They are, we can call, characteristics or related to Rupa. But we don't put them in the Panyati group. So that's why in the Patana method, we find the 28 Rupas given in the books. Reason is, even though they are not real Rupas, as they are related to Rupas, we tend to count them as Rupa. You can find this regarding the Vinyati explanation. If you go into the Hammadwara Katha in Dhammasangani commentary, Hammadwara Katha, in the beginning of the commentary, beginning part, they explain, the commentary and the sub-commentary explains that even though they are not real Rupas, they in certain ways, like certain manners, we still count them as Rupa. So normally we discuss about 28 Rupas when we come to the Patana method.
I see. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Bhante.
Sorry. And then there is another thing, like, it's also, as you brought the issue, like brought the question, it's another important factor. Now, when we call about the Kamma Dwara, we have three Kamma Dwara, right? We have three Kamma Dwara, Kaya Kamma Dwara, that is Kaya Vinyati. Then we have Vachi Kamma Dwara. That's Vachi Vinyati. Then we have Mano Kamma Dwara. According to Lady Shadow explains, Javana Chitta. Because that is with which we do the action. Javana Chitta, and we can also include Manodwara Avajana, but Lady Shadow has mentioned as Javana Chitta. Anyway, we'll go into stick into his definition because he's like quite sharp in that sense. So if we now then what the Mulatika is suggesting when we come into Patana method, Mulatika, it's suggesting that this when we come into doing the Kamma Dwara, because Kamma Dwara is the door for the Kamma. So normally without the Kamma Dwara, we cannot perform the Kaya Kamma. We have to have a Kaya Vinyati, or we have to have Vachi Vinyati to perform certain Kammas like killing, stealing, and so forth. We cannot do it by mere mind. So what he is telling is the Chetana is there, and Chetana becomes a Kamma. But a Kamma to be completed, there should be some physical effects, especially when we come to Panadipata, Adinadana, and the first 7 Akusala Kammas. For the Chetana to become a real Kamma, Kamma Pata, we can call, Chetana to become a Kaya Kamma, there should be some physical movements. There should be physical involvement. So there, in this sense, he is suggesting, for example, Chetana, the final act is eradication, destruction of Jivitindriya. So when Chetana want to destruct this Jivitindriya, this has a sequence. First, there should be Chittaja Rupa, Chittakiriya Vayo Dhatu, Chittaja Vayo, and it has to be, it should be directed. It should be directed towards that action by Vinyati. Then the Utuja, like the main body, the entire body starts to, it's not the Chittaja Rupa is doing the only act, our physical body is what actually does the act. So Utuja, we call the body, the physical body, acts, and then destruction of Jivitindriya. So this is the first part. The Panadipata is completed by this part. So there should be some intermediate stages like this, right? So now in this stage, now Chetana the mere Chetana cannot be a Panadipata Kamma if this doesn't happen. So Mulatika Shadow is telling, he just mentioned about, even in the book, he mentioned about Chetana, Vinyati, and Jivitindriya. I just added these two to make it more clear, right? So he's talking about these three. First, middle, and last. So now what he's suggesting is, according to Patthana, according to 24 Patthana, now Chetana becoming a Kamma is a vital aspect. According to Patthana, he's telling there is no causal contribution of Kaya Vinyati to any reality other than being the Arammana or Upanishaya, right? Other than being Arammana Upanishaya, there is no specific relationship of realities like Kaya Vinyati to any other reality. I think Upanishad is there. I'm not sure. Maybe Upanishad was 18 rupa. I forgot it actually. So according to Patana, he is suggesting there is no conditional support given by Kaya Vinyati to Kamma. Right? No Patana. According to Patana, nothing is mentioned. No conditional support given by Kaya Vinyati to Kamma is mentioned. But he's suggesting, still, he's telling, without Kaya Vinyati, Kamma cannot be Panatipata, for example. Killing cannot be accomplished. Or the Vachi Vinyati. So he's suggesting, in that sense, Kaya Vinyati has a causal contribution for the Chetana to become Kamma. So he's suggesting, therefore, there is a causal contribution of Kaya Vinyati, KV, for the Kamma, for Chetana to become a Panatipata Kamma. So that is another point. So what the shadow is suggesting, as you said, yes, there is no such causal relationship mentioned in Patana, but still without the Kaya Vinyati, as it cannot be accomplished, the Kamma. So he's suggesting that there is a such a contribution. You can read this in Kaya Kamma Dwarakata. In the commentary doesn't give this. Mulatika explains about this matter.
Okay, Bante. Saru. Thank you so much, Bante. And also because Bante, so because we are talking about Panatipata here, so I have a related question to this.
Yeah, sure.
So what is the object of the three viratis, Bante? Because when we abstain from killing someone or a being, then at the time we are the maybe one of the 8 Mahakusala Chittas associated with maybe Samma Kammanta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that what is the subject? I mean the object of that chitta at the time? But is it Panyati or is it Paramatta?
Yeah, it's another good question. So normally we study according to our Myanmar studies. We have BA class. We have Virati as Kamavachara Dhamma, right? We have the object of Virati. Virati we learn as Kamavachara. Always Kamavachara. That is, Kamavachara or Lokuttara. Sorry. Lokuttara is about the Chitta, what do you call, Lokuttara Chittas in the Magga Virati in the Magga and Phala. Otherwise, they call it Kamavachara. So when we abstain, what we study is, now when we look into the Visuddhi Magga, we say Sampatta Arammana. Viramana. So what we normally study traditionally, sampattaramanato viramana means, therefore, object of abstaining from killing is jivitindriya of living beings. Right? That is the normal traditional explanation that we have. So now a question comes, now when we think about a living being, isn't it a panyati? Isn't it idea like, because satta panyati, we know metta, we practice metta is a satta panyati. So when we abstain from killing someone, isn't it that our object is panyati because we restrain from killing someone? It's a very, very important thing to find out. So one answer would be, even though we think about the living being, we are think about not destroying its life. So life is rupa jivit, life, what we understand the life is the rupa jivitindriya. Not the naam actually, rupa jivitindriya. So when we think that when we observe that I will not kill the living being, so traditionally we say, even though the satta is the object, the living being is the object, we have more focus towards the living, the jivitindriya of that being. That is the normal answer that we get traditionally. But when you look at it, there's another very important aspect that I would like, if you can look into this, is very related to Abhidhamma. You go into the Sanghadisesa, first Sanghadisesa, the Sanghadisesa of Bhikkhu Vinaya, Vimutta Vinodini Tika. So it's called the rule is for emitting semen for monks. It's a very bad offense. So what they are saying, at the moment of sleeping, dreaming, because there is no offense if monk emit the semen while he is in dream, even he does it physically while during the dream, there is no offense for that. So if now inside now the commentators explain about dreams. So there are various types of dreams according to the Theravada tradition. So what are the chittas that occur while we are seeing a dream? According to them, it's a manodvarika viti. In the manodvarika viti, we have tadalamana also. They suggest there is tadalamana. Then a question comes, in a dream, we observe the objects we have, but we have the feeling of living beings, like it's conceptual object that we see something of. There is color, there are colors that we see, but most of the times they are fully created by our mind. There are not actual objects. The conceptual idea is always there. So the Vimutta Vinodini Tika suggests that now when we see a living being, when we get the idea of a being, human, sometimes the flowers, the robes, even though they are concepts, still there is the ultimate realities are found in those objects. The collection of those ultimate realities, we consider it as a concept. So even though such objects like Atta Panjati, considering someone as a human being, living being, a robe, a house, something. So though they are, we normally categorize them as concepts. The Tika is suggesting they are not full concepts. They are also related with realities. So what the Tikacharya is telling, we normally say Tadalamana is 8 Mahakusal Vipaka and 3 Santirana. 8 Mahavipaka and 3 Santirana always have Kamavachara objects, according to the Aramana Sangha. But when these objects of a human or object of a flower, object of a robe comes, the idea, as still there is Paramatta Dhammas involved in that object. So he's suggesting that Mahavipaka and Santirana in the Tadalamana level still can take such objects, appear in such vitis. They are not mere concepts. So what he's suggesting, in the Aramanatika, we exclude some chittas from the Aramanatika, which can take panyati, right? Which can take panyati. So he's suggesting that exclusion is about mere panyatis. Mere panyati is like the patibhaga nimitta, something like that. Patibhaga nimitta, or the mere absence of a reality, something like that. So these are the mere panyatis. There is another thing called Vattu Dhamma Sambandha Panyati, the panyatis that are based on realities. So therefore, according to the Sanghadisesa, Vimuttinodina Tika's explanation of the Sanghadisesa, even it's like the mind, Virati can take the idea of a living being. Virati can take the idea of a living being. So it is, in that moment, it is conceptual. But as it is, the idea of a living being is towards the 5 aggregates, including the Jivitindriya, we can still call them as Kamavachara objects because they are related to Rupa. So there are two, in that sense, what we come in the end is, there are 2 types of Panyati objects, the mere Panyati and the Panyati based on realities. So therefore, as you said, when we refrain from killing, we all surely get the idea of a living being, like we practice metta. So it's obvious that I don't kill this being. So there is a panyati involvement. That panyati element is not counted in the traditional aspect. So we normally say virati is always kamavachara, like mahavipaka is always kamavachara object. Tadalamana, Santirana in the Tadalamana is always Kamavachara object. But the Vimuttinodini teacher is telling, at that level, the idea of a man, idea of a flower, idea of a tree, house is still there. So it's like a vague thing that it's very difficult to distinguish whether this object is Panyati or Paramatta. And he also suggesting someone offer a flower to a Buddha and is born as a result of that karma. Sometimes he may get the karma nimitta of that object. So that in that object, the color is there, the idea of flower is there, but still the idea is based on ultimate realities. Still, we call it a paramatta object, but still the Panyati element is not fully missing. That is the explanation of Vimuttinodini Tikacharya. The Lady Shadow is suggesting that Tadalamana is a very big chitta, so it doesn't have that conceptual idea. That's another way he explains about this. So I just wanted to point out that, as you said, when we abstain from killing, we have the idea of a living being. So it should be a Panyati. If we categorize metta as a Panyati object, so that argument is very clear. So when we come into this contradiction, we can see this explanation given by, you can see this clearly mentioned there. So what he's mentioning is, I'll repeat it now. When looking at aggregates, realities, we have the idea of living beings, human, man, female, and so forth. That idea is not preventing Virati or Tadalamana taking those objects, because those Panyati ideas are based on Paramattas. So that is their explanation. Then there is another explanation of the object of Virati we can find in the ancient, some explanations of Patthana. We find it in the Sinhalese book. A monk who studied in Burma, based on Ayakau, is suggesting object of Virati can be the Chittupada. Chittupada is Chitta Chetasikas, by which we abstain, object of Virati by Panatipata Veramani. Okay, we can say Panatipata, abstaining from killing. Panatipata Veramani Virati can be the Chittupada Dosamula. Chittupada by which we do the act of killing. Like when we now there are two ways that we can consider about when we observe panadipata, when we determine that I will not kill. We can think personally. I had when I was a lay person, we observe daily. So when we observe this panadipata, either I think normally that was my practical experience. Either we think that I will not kill the living being, or either I think I will not rouse that kind of a chitta by which I do the act of killing. I abstain from such killing dosamula. Dosamula chitta which do the act of killing. It's something inwards. It's something inward. So that is also a possible and practical explanation on it. According to that, then virati become ajapta ramana also. So the entire thing, the entire traditional explanation should be amended according to that. But this explanation is also, so he's suggesting this Thera is a very renowned Thera who studies in Myanmar. He's telling virati have two types of objects. Sampatta ramana, that is the jivitindriya of killing of the living being which we kill, and also it can have the object of as the chittupada by which we do the killing or do the evil act. So object of virati have two explanations, but when we look into the panyati object of a living, now chittupada is always paramatta. It's obvious that we determine about ourselves, about our chitta. But as you say, ask the question like restraining from killing someone, isn't there a panyati object? According to the Vimati Vinodini explanation, we can say there is a panyati object, but still we put it into the paramatta group. But when we go into the very traditional explanation, when we say abstaining from killing a living being, the idea of living being is there, but our attention is more towards the jivitindriya, so we categorize it as a kamavachara object. So that's the explanation I would like to offer.
Okay, thank you so much for the very comprehensive answer today. It just so I mean when I thought about this for the first time, I thought that it would be the jivitindriya. And then, okay. Yeah, I thought about this question a long time ago, and then I asked one Sayadaw, and okay. the answer he gave is that the object of the three virati is the so-called viramitabba vattu.
Yeah, viramitabba vattu.
Yeah, and then I remember he said that is the viramitabba vattu is panyati.
Huh?
Yes, that's what he said. And then I found, in fact, I searched for that word and I found it in the Vibhangatika, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Vibhangatika, and this is what it says. The sentence is Sampatta virati vasenati sampatte pachupanne aramane yatha viramitabbo te virati vasenati atho. But then I mean, okay, so that's why the context. But still, I don't know what viramitabba vattu is. But according to that Sayadaw's explanation, he said that is panyati, that is being.
Panyati, right?
Yes.
Maybe Dr. Ryan, the Sayadaw was mentioning maybe about the Vinaya rule. Maybe he was thinking like that. For example, when we refrain from killing, another way is monk could think about the rule promulgated by the Buddha. I do respect that. But it is not a abstaining. It is a reason of abstaining. It's not the object of abstaining, right? But maybe that was the aspect Sayadaw was thinking. I'm just thinking that justifying what the Sayadaw would have thought. So maybe he was thinking like that. What do you think about
it? Yeah, that's possible. But he says what to, right? What to is like a
thing.
A thing, yes. A thing that should be abstained from. That's what it means, right?
Abstain from, no?
Yes.
So we don't abstain from a sikkapada. We abstain due to a sikkapada, right?
Right.
Okay. So Seattle didn't give much explanation, right?
No, because so when Sajidor gave me that word and it said, then I didn't
He didn't have
understand what
any.
it means.
He didn't ask,
Yeah, they
right?
have
Because
no
he
idea
sort
what
of-
it means. So I said that is it paramattha or panyati? Sajidor, and he said that it's panyati, it's beings.
Okay. If you had the knowledge about Vibhanga Tika, you would have asked, right?
Right, Bhante.
So it's too late then.
Right. Anyway, so yeah, but thank you so much for the detailed explanation, Bhante. And then I'm sorry, but because we brought up this topic, and I have a lot of related questions to this topic. I don't know whether or
Okay.
not.
We'll just ask others if they have anything questions, or otherwise we can go into that. We'll just give them others a chance.
Sure, Bhante, yes.
Anyone has any questions related to this? Because I explained a lot, I think. About the Niya Dhamma or killing or something. Okay, seems not. Okay, Dr. Ryan, we can continue.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much, Bhante. So the question is, so we know that the virati, the three viratis are the aniyata yogi, right, Bhante? So my question is mostly based on those aniyata yogi. So so we know that, for example, the three viratis, we know that they can rise together with the 8 Mahakusala Citas and of course the 8 Lokuttara Citas. But let's just focus on the 8 Mahakusala Citas, right? And then according to the Aramana, I mean, when we analyze the Aramanas, then we know that the 4 Mahakusala Jnana Vipayukta, they can take everything except the Arahata Magga and Arahata Phala Citas. But for the 4 Mahakusala Jnana Samvayukta, that they can take everything. But
Jnana Vipayukta cannot take Lokuttara. Sampayukta without Arahata Maggaphala, right?
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes. Well, okay. And then yeah, but then I mean, because so those citas can take a lot of things, but the three viratis can take just a few things. So my question is focusing. My question is focusing on the aniyata yogi. So what about the 12 akusala citas? 12 akusala citas. For example, if we just look at the for example, the Itsa or Mechariya or Kukucha, what are the objects of those Cetasika specifically, Bhante? Because we know that then when they are they can be associated with, for example, these with the two dosa citas, but and the dosa citas can take a lot of things. But what is the case when these three Cetasikas associated with them? Those two dosa citas, can they take everything too? I mean, you know, that's my question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like, so when we say virati, the kusala chitta, mahakusala, right?
Right, Bhante.
Mahakusala, the range is everything except Arahata Magga and Phala.
Right, Bhante.
Right? Then when it comes to virati, which is also in Mahakusala, we come into Kamavachara objects. So in the same manner, we come into Dosamula. We have all mundane, all objects except Lokuttara. Right? Yes. Then we come to Issamacharya. and Kukucha. What are these? So is there any, can they take all objects except Lokuttara, or are they always confined to something? Right?
Exactly, yes.
So Issa, we normally say always, it can be any object, any external mundane objects. Whether it can be have panyati, yes, sure. Like for example, sometimes we may feel jealousy about someone having a very beautiful name, right? So any external, we can say object, except Lokuttara. So never internal. Right? Never an internal object. That is a normal explanation. But then when it comes to Matsarya, I'll come at the end. Kukucha, according to Lady Sayadaw, if you go into Paramattha Dipani explanation of Kukucha in the second chapter, he is telling always past object, past akusala and kusala object, because there are two ways kusala can be object of virati. That is that I didn't do such acts that I would have done. Sometimes having turned into a michaditi, we may regret about practicing dana or worshiping the Buddha, that I have been doing something unwholesome. For example, a person converting into another religion and may think that I paid respect to the Buddha for 8-10 years. I have been doing akusala instead of paying respect to God. So likewise, a past kusala can be also object of kukucha. We call it, we normally call it patirupaka kukucha, which is not a real kukucha. Ayatava kukucha, which is not a real kukucha. Real kukucha means it is an act that should be admired instead of rejecting, repenting upon. But because of our wrong view, people sometimes repent. So it should be always. Lady Sayadaw is very strong here. He's very strong. So kukucha should be always past kusala and akusala. Then any external object. It can be any external object except Lokuttara and never internal. It can be panyati even. Then Matsarya, normally traditionally we say, if you remember Ajatta Tikha in BAB we studied, Matsarya we exclude from Bahidharamana. We exclude from Bahidharamana. Bahidharamana means, Bahidha here means nothing related with our body or life, right? So here any external object except Lokuttara, never an internal object, or it's also we have to understand panyatis related to ourselves are also not object of Issa. Like for example, my name would never be an object of Issa. Another one's name, having a very beautiful, attractive name, can be an object of Issa. So therefore, when we say any external object, panyati is always external, but panyati is related to ourselves also seems not objects of Issa. Then when it comes to Matsarya, traditionally, there's a problem in this traditional explanation. We always say Matsarya is internal, never external. Matsarya is not liking someone to have my own objects or to have an object similar to mine. So then we have 5 types of Matsarya: Avasa Matsarya, Kula Matsarya, Vanna Matsarya, and so forth. That I don't like, for example, a monk may not like his devotees to, another monk to associate his devotees. That is one point. Another monk to associate his devotees. So devotees are always external objects. In terms of Abhidhamma, though they are related to myself, they are external objects. Someone may not like a monk to live in the monastery he lives. It's not because it's bad behavior, because he doesn't like someone to use what he has. That is a very gross level of defilement. So monastery is an external object in terms of Abhidhamma. So Venerable Janakabhivansa is suggesting that this traditional explanation that had come from generation is something controversial. So they are suggesting Macharya can take external objects. Macharya can take some, but when we look into the definition, we find even it is an external object, there is a relationship with myself. Relationship with myself. I don't like someone to live in the monastery that belongs to me. I don't like someone to use my stuff, even not to touch sometimes. I don't like, then another type of Macharya is, I don't like someone else to have a luxury as I have, or more than I have. A person may have a car. He may be okay with someone else getting a car unattractive or lower than himself, or maybe equal to himself, but never, sometimes not better than himself. So even the object is the other one's car, we are in comparison with ourselves, our car. So always there is an internal element in it, not an object, internal relationship, comparing it to myself. Sometimes Macharya, according to comes like some people, there is a offering given in some place. Monks want to go there, or someone is drawing some kind of a lottery. Someone may have a feeling, may I only get it, not anyone else. These are also object of Macharya. So future objects or present objects, past objects, always he relates it to himself, not for others to have it, or he doesn't like others to have a better object than what he already has. Therefore, Macharya is something related. So it can be any object except Lokuttara that have a relationship with one's own self. On self means even I consider comparing with my car. So it's related to myself, right? So there's a object. My object is his car. I doesn't like him to have that car in comparison to the car that belongs to me. So always there is I element is found there. That is the Macharya. Then there is something called within the Macharya. There's another thing called Khadariyata. Khadariyata is a specific one. Not liking others to offer or give dana. It's like Macharya is a lesser one. Like the person doesn't like other ones to get as he has or similar to himself. Khadariyata is he doesn't like even others to offer dana to someone. He prevents others from giving dana. He is not preventing the giver's kusala. In the end, he has done it. But his intention is he's telling, don't give these people out of just nothing. Don't these people just offer. Don't just offer them. They would become lazy. This is not a proper act. You are making them even more idle. So likewise, he is pointing out that such offerings are the people doesn't deserve to have such offering. It's a waste. Like you are doing something wrong. So that kind of feeling is he doesn't like the receivers to get anything, even from someone else. It's a very gross level of Macharya we call. It's a higher level of Macharya. But it's quite difficult to understand what is the relationship with myself in that, right? So any object except here is Lokuttara that have a relationship with one's own self, right? That is the object of Macharya. So now when it comes to Kadariyata, he doesn't like anyone to get anything for free. So that's why he prevents others from offering. It's a very bad akusala. When you do a Kadariyata, you harm two people. The donors kusala is prevented, receivers fortune is prevented. Both is, but his aim is mainly is not prevent. His aim is not to prevent someone from giving a kusala, doing a kusala. He's preventing someone from receiving something. We can relate it that he doesn't want anyone to have anything like he does, but there is no comparison in it, right? So in that sense, it's something broader. So normally in Dhamma, we say Macharya, higher Macharya is Kadariyata, right? Higher Macharya is Kadariyata. Whether we equal it with Macharya or when the Macharya grows into a higher level, it turns into Kadariyata, or Kadariyata represents the Macharya Chetasika itself. I'm unable to give a specific answer. I'm not knowledgeable enough for that. So because it can be Macharya growing stronger, and then he turns into a level of not liking anyone to receive anything. So it can be another dosamula chitta without Macharya. Or either it can be Macharya. So then if we consider Kadariyata as a Macharya, identical with Macharya, higher level of Macharya, we have to extend the object range of Macharya, and it may become any object, like, because he doesn't like anyone to receive anything, even a good name, even a good title, or even it can happen in many ways, right? So, and also someone can argue, isn't that Issa or something? Isn't that Issa? Yeah, it's a very vague thing when we come into the Kadariyata. Isn't it that jealousy that he has of someone having a fortune? So anyway, yeah, this Macharya incident object is quite debatable to explain, but when we only focus on Macharya, Venerable Janakabhyavansa doesn't like the traditional explanation. He says Macharya cannot be internal only in terms of Abhidhamma, it is external, but according to the definition we find that it always has a relationship with one's own self. So as you asked, when we come to the Aniyata Yogi of Issa, Macharya and Kukucha, we cannot completely equalize with the object range of dosa. But when it comes to mana, it's a different case. Mana, the object range of mana is very high, but it also has a internal means it also has a comparing aspect. The only mana that doesn't compare is Asmi mana, and also the Adimana. They have a wrong kind of measurement about themselves, but otherwise mana's object range is also very wide. Yeah, so this would be the thing that I would like to offer.
So Bhante, for mana, then it's also all objects except Lokuttara, Bhante?
Mana, because we have lots of types of mana, Dr. Ryan. It's like Atimana, Adimana, like for example, Atimana, Hinamana, Seyamana. Yeah, when we discuss on these aspects, we are comparing others with ourselves. Sorry, we compare ourselves with others. So mana is mostly internal in that sense. But when we look into, like, we think about our house. So I'm very proud about my house. So it's an external object, but it's still related with ourselves. But when we come into Adimana, it's a wrong consideration, estimation about our own attainments. And when we come to Asmimana, we find there's no comparison. Asmimana means we consider that I am a separate living being that should be respected, that should be given the due respect. Like should not consider myself as a log or a rock. So for example, while I'm there, no one should go through me, no one should hit me. They should consider that I'm still existing. So that kind of respect, self-respect, like expecting a self-respect, I would call, is the Asmimana, the basis of Asmimana, and the I factor. I'm there. Others have to consider that I am also a being and I also have my own rights. That's Asmimana. So likewise, the object range of mana is quite larger, but it's also, as we can see, it's related to ourselves. I haven't thought about very deeply. Yeah.
So, but then it sounds to me that it's very related to Panyati, right, Bante?
Mana.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another very important aspect. Mana. Now, when we come into our wrong attainments, consideration of wrong attainments, that now thinking the vipassana chitta is magga chitta is also adhimana. That's the one aspect. So it can be pure reality in that sense. Then, but that's another point. That's why the Vimukti Vinodina Tikacharya's idea is quite impressive. When we think about the object of Ditti, this also, it can apply to Mana also. Object of Ditti is someplace Atta. Atta is the Panyati, right? Self. In some places, we find the object of Ditti is 5 aggregates. So what they are doing is the Ditti considers 5 aggregates, or any of aggregates as a self, right? As a self. So in some places, we find object of Ditti is mentioned as a false object falling into the Panyati group. In some places, we find Ditti has the object of mundane realities. So when the Ditti considers 5 aggregate as a self, so 5 aggregates is a reality, self is a Panyati. So likewise, that's why the Vimukti Vinodina teacher is telling, in such occasions, it's very difficult to distinguish whether it's a pure Paramatta or a Panyati. So when I look into the Mana also, he considers the 5 aggregates as I and tries to compare it, or tries to give it some value. So therefore, I would rather say it can be said as a Panyati, and in some sense, it can be said as a Paramatta.
I see. Thank you, Bante. And yes, please, the last one, Bante. What about Vichikicca, Bante?
Okay, that is it's another tough one. Yeah. Okay. Vichikicca is the doubt, right? So normally we say Vichikicca. There are 2 types of Vichikicca. Akusala Vichikicca and Patirupaka Vichikicca. Patirupaka Vichikicca can be Kusala, Akusala, or Kiriya. Not Vipaka, Kiriya. It is like a doubt about something. It's normal. Let's start from the Patirupaka Vichikicca. It can be found even in Arahants. Doubting about the path, doubting about path means path to go somewhere, doubting about a name, doubting about the time. These are Patirupaka Vichikicca. So based on that, some traditions thought Arahants do have Vichikicca. The Theravadis recognize it as Patirupaka Vichikicca. Kusala Vichikicca is over there. Whether is this an offense or not, whether I have committed the offense or not, there can be some doubts about it. In the Akusala mind also, there can be some doubts. Like for example, we can doubt a friend, whether he's a real enemy or a real friend, which is very, very disturbing in some sense when you have doubt about a close associate. So anyway, so all these are related to Vichikicca. So it can be wholesome thought, unwholesome thought, or it can be Kiriya thought. The thing is, now before I come to Akusala Vichikicca, so when the commentators explain to eradicate the Vichikicca, if you look into the instructions that he has given, it covers all types of Vichikicca. Even Patirupaka Vichikicca can be a disturbance for our practice, especially about the Vinaya for monks. Having doubts about the Vinaya rules can be really, really a disturbing thought can be really disconnected. For that, the commentators have mentioned, associate good teachers who are well learned in Vinaya, or associate, study the Vinaya very well, take your time and get established in the Sasana. With the Vasa, growing of Vasa, you will understand many things. So likewise, in the beginning, we always have some doubts about the Vinaya rules. So it's not a akusala, it's not a ekanta akusala I'm talking. Here, Patirupaka Vichikitsa can be akusala. We are talking about ekanta akusala. Ekanta akusala means, I'll come into that point. So Patirupaka Vichikitsa can be any object. But it is not the Vichikitsa Chetasika. That's the thing. It's a mind moment or Chittupada, which is doubting about something. Right? Then still there's a question mark about, I'll come to that at the end. Ekanta akusala vichikitsa, the object range. The object range is normally, we call, normally, as explained, eightfold. Buddha's attributes, Dhamma, Sangha, Sikha, the training, previous life, future life, both the previous and future life, and the dependent origination. Causal relationship. Can the causes bring relations? God bring relations. Is everything happened because of cause and effect? Can there be as a person like a Buddha? Can someone reach that level? Doubting whether the Buddha appeared or not is a historical doubt. It falls into Patirupaka Vichikitsa. Doubting whether someone can be a Buddha or not, it's doubting about the phenomenon. It's doubting about the phenomenon. So when we doubt about an actual phenomenon, ultimately it becomes akusala. Like when we have a wrong view about actual phenomenon, like a rebirth. Maybe we don't have much information, but we come into a conclusion that there's no rebirth. It's an honest thought. He's not doing any bad to anyone, but he's doubting about an actual phenomenon. So it's considered as akusala thought. It's a wrong view. So likewise, so if there's a phenomenon, the phenomenon really affects our mind, even without our conscious, we being conscious about it. So likewise, when we doubt the actual phenomenon, it becomes an actual akusala, like Ditti is akusala, and which that doubt is an akusala. It's because we are doubting an actual phenomenon which is happening within ourselves and also in the world. So whether it is possible to be a Buddha, if someone doubts, is Vichikitsa. If there is anything called, any state called Nirvana, or are there any realities called Magga and Phala? Just give me one moment. Oh, my panti ini one. Oh. Hari bohong ping mambalana bohong ping. Sorry. So then, when we doubt about whether there can be a state called Nirvana or a Maggapala, can it appears? So we are doubting about an actual phenomenon. Can there be a Chitta which eradicates the kilesas and so forth? So there's an actual doubt. Are there any beings? Is it possible to someone to become Sotapanna, Sakadagami, other than the Buddha? When we doubt, is that doubting actual phenomenon? Doubting the training means, would this training of practicing of Sila Samadhi Panya would lead to development, spiritual attainments? So can one be a noble by just practicing these threefold training? It's not doubting about whether I broke the rule or not. If you have a doubt whether I broke the rule or not, that's a Patirupaka Vichikitsa. Whether my Upasampada is valid or not. Even Venerable Kumara Kassapa had that doubt. Being an Arahant, he doubted, because after the rule was promulgated about the monk should be ordained after 20, he was ordained before that. So before means he was ordained, I think, taking his age from the mother's womb, as I remember. So somehow he had the doubt. as being Arahant. So Arahant cannot have Vichikicha. It's a Patirupaka Vichikicha. So doubting about your own Sila, it's a Patirupaka Vichikicha. Doubting whether this training would lead to liberation or attainment, spiritual development, it's a Ekanta Akusala Vichikicha, because it's doubting about a phenomenon. Doubting about rebirth, previous birth, both the rebirth and previous birth, also surely doubting a phenomenon. Doubting about the dependent origination, the cause and effect thing, is also a Ekanta Akusala thing. So when, and the next thing is, the doubt, among all these doubts, the most serious doubt is doubting the causal relationship. Not doubting the Buddha. Doubting the Buddha is a secondary thing. Because when you have a pure understanding about the causal relationship, we understand it is possible to be a Buddha, because with gradual training. So causal relation, understand the causal relationship is the must, is the very, very vital, is very vital. So that's why when you complete the Kankaya Vitarana Vishuddhi, you get rid of all sort of doubts. So even the doubt about Buddha is gone. It would be suppressed. Because when we know, the one thing is understanding that he preached the Dhamma correctly, we get rid of the doubt. And then we also know Buddhahood is not something miraculous. It doesn't something happen out of a miracle. As a miracle, it is something attainment with gradual, constant training. Because when we train, we know the latter chittas would arise in a higher level. That is the causal relationship. So therefore, this is so these 8 are the objects of Vichikicha, right? These are the objects of Vichikicha. So can they include all the mundane realities? Yes. They even include Paramatta reality, Lokuttara reality, about Nirvana and Maggapala. But in that case, as the Akusala Chitta cannot have the direct Paramatta object, we would say when someone doubts about Maggapala, he's doubting about the concept of Maggapala, not that he cannot take the real Maggapala as his object. That's something we have to understand. Otherwise, all the mundane objects can be object of doubt. Then the question comes, what about the Panyati? So Maggapala Panyati is obvious, Atta Panyati is obvious, but Nama Panyati, doubting whether the Buddha was Gautama or Siddhartha, his name, or someone else, is not an object of Akusala Vichikicha, it's a Patirupaka Vichikicha. Whether the Buddha appeared or not is a Patirupaka Vichikicha. Whether someone is a Arahant or not is a Patirupaka Vichikicha. Whether I was a Deva or a human or an animal in the previous life is a Patirupaka Vichikicha. It's not about the Akusala, Ekanta Akusala Vichikicha. Ekanta Akusala is doubting about the rebirth, the possibility of a rebirth. So therefore, the Vichikicha, object range of Vichikicha, because when we say Vichikicha, we are talking about the Ekanta Akusala Vichikicha. So it is confined to the 8-fold objects. The problem that we have to solve is when we go into Patirupaka Vichikicha, we know there is a Akusala Patirupaka Vichikicha, right? About the training, whether I committed the offense or not, whether I have Vipasampada or not, right? So these Akusala doubts, I'm not sure about that. When we have Patirupaka Akusala Vichikicha, can't the Vichikicha Chitta arises and in that place and doubt? It seems possible. It seems possible. So, but when it comes to the 8-fold objects, regardless of the person's attitudes, since he's doubting an actual phenomenon, it falls into Akusala group. But doubting whether my Upasampada is valid or not, whether the Vinaya Kamma was okay or not, is not a doubting about a phenomenon, it's doubting about an incident. So it's not necessarily to be Akusala, because even Arahants can have that doubt. But the problem is, when someone have a doubt about that, worrying, and also keep on doubting about it, can't the 11th Akusala Chitta, Vichikicha Chitta, arise at that time? Sometimes I feel it's possible, sometimes I feel it is not. But anyway, if it is possible, then any object other than the Lokuttara can be object of Vichikicha. Otherwise, if it is not, it should be confined to the 8-fold object range. And then, but still, it includes all the mundane realities for sure, but a limited number of Panyati could be. So that is something that I am unable to give a specific answer. That's why I said it's a tough question actually. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Bante. Saru. Yes, very comprehensive, Bante. Yeah, I've been thinking about these things a lot, but thank you so much for giving detailed explanations, Bante.
So shall we call it a day then?
Yes, Bante. Yes, Bante.
Thank you very much for joining.
Yes, thank you, Bante.